So there are many great books out there for any entrepreneur to read in general, but I chose 10 specific books for young or teenage entrepreneurs to read, and I chose 10 different subjects and topics for you to read and study before you become an entrepreneur, or if you're on already the journey of becoming an entrepreneur. So with that being said, the 10 topics will be very simple. Clarity, economy, enemy, your inspiration, strategy, plain hurt, long-term thinking, discipline, system, and being duplicatable, and innovation. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Number 10, the book is by Peter Drucker. Its title is Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And Peter Drucker, in general, he's got a lot of great books for you to read. If you study Peter Drucker, you will learn a ton about hiring, firing, marketing, strategy, advertising. I don't agree with everything he believes in, but he's got a lot of great things that will make you think and get creative about what is the formula to being innovative or creative, all this other stuff that different people have used in the past. He covers that in the book, Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Number 9 is a book on system and duplicatable. Let me tell you why I think it's very important for a teenage or young entrepreneur to read a book on this, and that book is Made in America. It's the story of Sam Walton. The reason why I love Sam Walton the most when I talk to a young or teenage entrepreneur, the reason why I think it's the best book for you to read or study, best person to study, here's a guy named Sam Walton. There was nothing special about him. In 1962, it was the year of the super discount stores. That's when Kmart was founded, Walmart was founded, Target, all of these guys all got started in 1962. And Sam Walton used to own one of these Franklin stores, and then he started Walmart. In the first 5 years, Kmart opens up 250 stores, and Walmart only opens up 9 stores. Fast forward today, Kmart's out of business. Walmart's got 2.2 employees worldwide and has 4 kids. He's got 4 kids. Each of them are worth a minimum of $40 billion today. If he was alive today, he'd be worth 160, 2.5 times Bill Gates. So you want to study Sam Walton because nothing was special about the guy. He's not somebody where you may study someone and that guy's an absolute genius. Sam Walton was a simple guy who was a hard worker, and he always looked for ways to make his business better. So Made in America for me would be number 9 on the list. I almost thought about putting him in top 5, but it's number 9 on the list with system duplicatable. Now number 8, discipline. For discipline, I chose Lean Startup. Lean Startup teaches you when you're younger and you're just looking at business, everyone says, I can't believe I could only get some money from my mom, my dad, some investor, some venture capital angel that gives me $250,000, I can start my own business. And you haven't yet tasted the idea of making your money. If you truly are an entrepreneur watching this and you're 13, I guarantee you've made some kind of money. You've sold cookies, shirts, something you've sold. If you're one of these folks that's an absolute entrepreneur since you were a kid, you probably already sold something. If you're someone that's going to be an accidental entrepreneur from watching something like this and you become inspired by it, you got to learn some of those concepts of making the money and how to stay lean so you can turn this $200 into $400. And money is all about doubling your money. So how can I make this 400 to 800, 800 to 1600, 632, 64, 12,000, 25,000, 50,000, 100,000, 200, 400, $1 million? That's a lean startup. It teaches you how to stay very disciplined. Number 7 on the list, long-term thinking is a thing that a lot of young and teenage entrepreneurs, especially today, you need. I'll tell you why today. See, many, many years ago when there was no social media or YouTube or Instagram or Snapchat, people weren't as much in a hurry or impatient as they are today. So for discipline, for long-term thinking, I chose Snowball by Warren Buffett because even though Warren Buffett today is worth $60, $70 billion, at 52, he was only worth $50 million. Now you may say 50 million is a lot of money, not compared to $60 billion. So he went from 52 years old at 50 million to now having $60 billion. It requires a lot of long-term thinking. I think one of the best places I went to Venice, Italy, and I went to this one chapel, one church I went to that was 330 years old. And when you were reading the story of it, it took 80 years to build. And the man who designed this thing to build, he knew he was 50 years old. What he wrote up, he's never going to see the final product. And most likely, his kids are never going to see the final product. The only people that were going to see the final product was his grandkids. when you study Warren Buffett, you will learn about long-term thinking, where it may be helping you in some of the decisions you make that's about hurrying. You become aggressively patient. You're still aggressive, but you're patient for your business to be built. It's a very important concept to pick up as a young teenage entrepreneur. Number 9, Plain Hurt. I chose Obstacle is the Way. Obstacle is the Way, which is a great book by Ryan Holiday. In this book, he explains to you the concept of Stoicism. And Stoicism is a philosophy that was born from cynicism. A lot of times we call people cynic. The word cynic comes from cynicism. Cynicism used to be a philosophy of people who would sit around and they would say, nothing good's gonna happen. If your wife's gonna leave you, odds are she's gonna leave you. If you get sick, odds are you are gonna die. Everything was cynical. So they had this philosophy, cynicism. And one of the members of cynicism was a guy named Seneca. He said, I just can't listen to this crap anymore. And he started Stoicism. And the first major leader in the world that picked up Stoicism and took it to a whole different level was Marcus Aurelius, who wrote the book Meditations. He took Stoicism to a whole different level. And he ran Rome. He was the emperor for 7 years. He was loved, adored. Everybody loved this guy, Marcus Aurelius. And Ryan Holiday takes that concept of Stoicism and explains it in today's world of business. And he explains to you that challenges are going to happen, but obstacle is the way. I think a lot of times a young or a teenage entrepreneur, the moment you face one challenge or one issue that comes up, people get, too distracted. Oh, it's not for me. I can't do it. Which in reality, obstacle is never going to stop. The moment you identify that, you know that's a part of life, you will look at obstacles in a completely different way. So Ryan Holiday's book, Plain Obstacle is the Way, is number 6. Number 5, strategy. For a 14-year-old, you'll look at everything and you'll look at it from a different lens than a 38-year-old looks at, or even a 68-year-old, or even a 24-year-old. You're looking at it from a completely different lens because your generation is changing so quickly with everything. Snap changes everything. Instagram changed everything. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, everything's changed. You have a lot more access to content today. I didn't grow up watching games on an iPad, and my kids do. I didn't grow up with any of this stuff. I went to school. We had to go to a library to do research on something with newspaper. Today, you Google. I didn't go to high school with Google ever being around for me. We didn't experience Google myself. We had AOL chat that came out late in senior year of my high school. So when I went into the Army, I still listened to a Walkman. When I got out of the Army, it was the first time I listened to CDs. And then most of you don't even know what a CD looks like or a Walkman looks like, right? That's what we experience. So for strategy, Blue Ocean Strategy is going to help your mind think about ways of doing business better that maybe a millennial or a Gen X may not even think about. You're going to see things from a completely different lens. So if you can get the strategy down on how it's done, you'll have an edge on everybody else. So Blue Ocean Strategy, a phenomenal book for you to read. I put that as number 4. Number 5, inspiration is Elon Musk. The book is called Elon Musk. It's written by an author who chased him down and said, you're either going to let me come and interview you, or if you don't, I'm going to write you based on what other people say about you, versus I can come and interview you, and I can tell you what other people told me about you, and then you can verify to give me your story or the version, and I'll tell both stories. And Elon agreed. So she went, interviewed, the author went, interviewed, they wrote this book. It's a phenomenal book. Good, bad, ugly, and you see how this kid was grown, how he was raised, and how he viewed things, and what books he read growing up, and why he was so turned on by certain things, and who was his uncle, his father, his parents, and what kind of an impact that made in the way he was raised. It's just a very good book to read as a source of inspiration for you. Number 3, enemy. You need to know your enemy very, very early on. And the book I'm going to recommend on enemy is called Outwitting the Devil. Outwitting the Devil was a book written by Napoleon Hill, I want to say 1929, 1930s, that he didn't publish at that time. And years later, the book was published by a lady named Sharon Lecter. I think it's Sharon Lecter that the book was published by. And the first time I read this book, I'm going to tell you a funny story. I read this book literally at the bar of P.F. Chang's on my iPad. The book had just come out a couple weeks prior to that. I sat there and I read the book in one sitting because I couldn't get up. I couldn't get up. I called and I said, I got to finish this book. And I finished the book. One by one, when I was going through it, I said, everybody needs to read this book, especially the younger generation. So Outwitting the Devil will be your number 1 enemy. You got to read that. That'll be the number 3 book. Number 2, economy. And I was kind of conflicted on what book to recommend on economy. I think the best book that I can recommend you on economy is not necessarily like, here, go read Capitalism, Socialism, Communism, and realize what it is to hire this person, fire this person, why you got to let go of this person, why you want to associate with this, why do some people become wealthy, some don't, why does some countries produce more successful people than other people, why do certain philosophies work and don't work. So the book I recommended here for you to read as economy is by Ayn Rand. It's called Atlas Shrugged. Atlas Shrugged. Now there's two ways you can do it. You can actually read the book. It's a big book, and it'll change the way you view everything in life. It's a big book if you read it. And if you don't want to read it, you can listen to it. There's an audio version of it as well. But regardless, it will change the way you view every single thing. You're going to think about John Galt in a different way. You're going to look at the economy in a different way. You're going to look at the people you work with, the friends, family, parents, teachers. You're going to look at everything in a complete different lens when you read this book, Atlas Shrugged. She wrote two books, Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged. I recommend Atlas Shrugged over Fountainhead. And number one is clarity. And I was debating on which book to read, put this for clarity. And the reason why I think clarity I put number one is because when you're in school and you don't really know what you want out of life, and everybody is telling you how you need to live. You need to go to college, get a degree, because if you get this, you'll be successful. Or you need to go out there and do this and do this. And you're still gullible enough or naive enough where somebody else can persuade you otherwise. So what I'm going to recommend you is complete 180 of what everybody else is going to recommend you. And I'm doing that intentionally. I'm telling you this in advance in case you choose to share this video with your parents, which is even a better idea. I'm intentionally wanting to give you the complete opposite argument because I know you're not hearing it, for you to get clarity. See, if you're raised in a family where everybody is teaching you capitalism all the time, I want you to study socialism and communism to know, the opposite. If you're in a family that's raised communism or socialism all the time and everybody's a Democrat, I need you to study the complete opposite side because I want complete opposite argument for me to see both sides. I like that. I want to see the complete opposite. If I'm born in a family where parents say rich people are bad people, I want to know why they're saying this. I want to know why rich people say poor people are lazy and why are poor people saying rich people are greedy. I want both arguments. If I only take one argument, I'm naive. So I'm giving you the second argument of school, and the number one book I'm recommending to you is a book called Drop Out and Get Schooled. I literally just published this last week. I think January 25th, the book got published, and we've gotten thousands of emails about this book. It's created a lot of heat and controversy around the world, not just in America. It's a simple book to read. It is not a long book to read. It's like 140 some pages, 130 some pages. And it answers the following questions for you. Number one is, why do we go to college in the first place? No one even asked that question. Why do you go to college? Number two, who should go to college and who shouldn't? Number three, can I succeed and do great things without college? Number four, why does tuition and textbooks cost as much as they do? Number five, how colleges have simply become a big tax-free business. And number six, are the subjects taught in college sufficient for life, or do we need an upgrade, right? This book is specifically dedicated to all the teenage entrepreneurs and young entrepreneurs who are somewhat conflicted and confused. What do I do? I'm 14 years old. I'm in 10th grade. I'm in 9th grade. Do I go to college? I'm a senior. Do I go to college or not? This will answer the questions. And I will tell you one thing here as well. The moment you read this book, mark my word, you're going to share it with your friends, your family, your teachers. I challenge you to give it to people who would disagree with this, to give you their argument. That's what I would challenge you to do. Read it first, then go to every single one of your teachers and say, have you read this book yet? It's causing a ton of havoc. I need you to read it and give me your feedback because I'm truly thinking about dropping out of college, dropping out of high school, not going to college after high school. Should I or should I not? And let them give you their argument. Let your parents give you their argument on the book here. So this will give you clarity, and that's why I put Drop Out and Get Schooled first place. Now some may say, Pat, you chose your own book as first place. I did. And the reason why I did is because everything in life, I was, where were we this past weekend? We were at Fort Worth. We had 3,000 of our agents came in. I had Magic Johnson as one of our keynote speakers. He came, I interviewed him. Then we got on a private jet. I took 18 of our friends to Vegas. We went and had a good time there in Vegas. We watched Tiesto. And then we came back the following day. We stayed at the Palms executive, what do you call it? It's the old Playboy penthouse. The old Playboy penthouse. It's a beautiful place. You go on the pool, you come out, it's like a drop, you look down, elevators in the penthouse. It's just a beautiful place. And somebody asked me the question and they say, Pat, if you had to say number one thing for success, what would it be? I said, clarity. Clarity. All this other stuff is fine. A person can be very innovative, but not be clear about their lives. A person can be very systematic and duplicatable, but they don't know what they want out of their lives. A person can have a lot of discipline, but they're still not clear. A person can be long-term thinking, but they're still not clear what life they want to think or build. A person can be good straight inspiration, but you still are not clear about what you want to do with your life. And at your age, the sooner you can get clarity, the sooner you have an edge on everybody else. So these are the 10 books. This is a challenge I want to give to you here on this video. The moment you finish any one of the books, you finish any one of the books, and anytime you read a book, post a review on Amazon, no matter which one of them it is. Just make that a habit, because you can always go back and see which books you read and what you thought about them. It's a way of you tracking your mind. The moment you post a review, Amazon allows you to read all your reviews. The moment you finish the book and post a review, send me a snap. My snap should be right here. It's by David 19. Send me a snap and let me know what you got out of the book, and then we'll take it from there. By the way, if you have any other books that you would add to this list, comment on the bottom. Paul, with that being said, throw me the pillow real quick. Throw me the pillow real quick. All right, right-handed. Our goal is to get to 1 million subs by the end of the year. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, click on the button here to subscribe. And the alert button is right next. You'll be one of the first to get alerts every time a new video comes up. We are the #1 channel on YouTube for how-to entrepreneur videos. No one's doing what we're doing. I put ourselves against anybody else. And I can tell you one thing here. You can go to college. If I could take 100 kids and 100 go to college and the other 100 watch 100% of all the videos on Valuetainment, I'm willing to bet my money on these guys are going to out-earn these guys, is what I'm willing to put. They can go get their 4-year degrees. These guys can watch 100% of Valuetainment videos and comment on them. They will out-earn these 100 kids that go to college. You don't believe me? Take up the challenge. Go watch all the videos and see what happens to your mind and how you talk, how you think, how you walk. With that being said, thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.